Did you know that sea otters hold hands while they sleep so they don't drift apart in the ocean currents? It's one of nature's most heartwarming solutions to the challenges of rest, unlike modern humans, who are the only mammals stubborn enough to willingly delay sleep. And ironically, we're also one of the few species that can't even catch a quick nap while standing up like so many other creatures can. Tonight on Midnight Deep Dive, we're embarking on a journey into one of the most profound paradoxes of human existence, sleep itself. So settle in, close your eyes, and let yourself drift peacefully as we uncover the fascinating mysteries of sleep. The science and mystery of sleep. Let's begin where every night begins for you, with that gentle, mysterious transition from wakefulness into sleep. Picture this. You're lying in bed, perhaps listening to this very voice, when suddenly the world starts to feel soft around the edges. Your thoughts begin to drift like autumn leaves on a gentle breeze. But what's actually happening in those precious moments? Your brain is orchestrating one of the most complex biological processes known to science. As your eyelids grow heavy, your brain waves are shifting from the quick, alert beta waves of consciousness into the slower, more rhythmic alpha waves. It's like watching a bustling city gradually quiet down as evening approaches. The frantic daytime activity gives way to a different, more peaceful rhythm. The transition into sleep happens in stages, each one deeper and more restorative than the last. Stage 1 is that drowsy, floating sensation where you're still somewhat aware of your surroundings. You might hear the distant hum of the refrigerator or feel the weight of your blanket, but these sensations are becoming dreamlike, less tethered to reality. This stage typically lasts just 5 to 10 minutes. It's your body's gentle way of testing the waters of unconsciousness. Then comes stage 2, where you truly begin to disconnect from the waking world. Your body temperature starts to drop, your heart rate slows, and something fascinating happens with your brain waves. They develop these brief bursts of activity called sleep spindles, quick, rhythmic patterns that last just a second or two. Scientists believe these spindles are like your brain's way of closing the gates to consciousness, preventing external sounds and sensations from waking you up. It's as if your mind is drawing the curtains and locking the door for the night. But the real magic happens in stages 3 and 4, what we call deep sleep or slow wave sleep. This is when your brain waves become long, slow, rolling hills of electrical activity called delta waves. If you could see them on a monitor, they'd look like the gentle swells of an ocean on a calm night. During this phase, your brain is doing something remarkable. It's literally cleaning house. Throughout the day, as your neurons fire and process information, they produce waste products, much like how a car engine produces exhaust. In deep sleep, your brain's glial cells, think of them as the night janitors, spring into action. The spaces between your brain cells expand by up to 60%, creating channels for cerebrospinal fluid to wash through and clear away these metabolic toxins. It's like your brain has its own nighttime cleaning crew, mopping up the mess left behind by a busy day of thinking. This deep sleep phase is also when your body does most of its physical repair work. Growth hormone surges through your system, helping to rebuild tissues, strengthen bones, and consolidate memories. Children spend much more time in deep sleep than adults, sometimes up to 40% of their night, which explains why they can sleep so soundly and wake up seemingly having grown overnight. Then, roughly 90 minutes after you first fell asleep, something magical happens. You enter REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, and suddenly your brain becomes almost as active as when you're awake. Behind your closed eyelids, your eyes dart back and forth like you're watching an invisible tennis match. This is when the most vivid, story-like dreams occur. REM sleep is paradoxical in every way. Your brain is buzzing with activity, yet your body becomes temporarily paralyzed except for your diaphragm and eye muscles. It's as if nature has built in a safety mechanism to prevent you from acting out your dreams. Imagine the chaos. if we could sleepwalk through our most adventurous nighttime stories. The purpose of REM sleep has puzzled scientists for decades. Some believe it's when your brain processes emotions and consolidates memories, filing away the important experiences of the day while discarding the trivial ones. Others suggest it's a time for creative problem-solving, when your mind can make unusual connections freed from the logical constraints of waking thought. There's a reason we talk about sleeping on difficult decisions. Throughout the night, you cycle through these stages roughly every 90 to 110 minutes, like a gentle tide that ebbs and flows. Early in the night, you spend more time in deep, restorative sleep. Toward morning, REM periods become longer and more frequent, which is why your dreams often feel most vivid and memorable just before you wake up. The discovery of these sleep stages revolutionized our understanding of rest. In the 1950s, researchers at the University of Chicago were among the first to observe REM sleep, initially calling it paradoxical sleep, because of the contradiction between the active brain and the still body. It wasn't until they started waking people up during different stages that they realized each phase served a unique purpose in the grand symphony of sleep. The evolution and history of sleep. Our modern relationship with sleep would be utterly foreign to our ancestors. For thousands of years, humans lived by a completely different rhythm, one that might surprise you with its gentle wisdom. Before Thomas Edison's light bulb began to push back the darkness, most people practiced what historians call biphasic sleep, or segmented sleep. They would go to bed shortly after sunset, perhaps around 7 or 8 p.m., and sleep deeply for 4 or 5 hours. Then sometime around midnight or 1 a.m., they would naturally wake up. But here's the beautiful part. They didn't see this as a problem to be solved. This midnight awakening was expected, even treasured. People would lie quietly in the darkness, perhaps praying, reflecting on the day, or having intimate conversations with their bed partner. Some would get up to tend the fire, check on the animals, or visit the privy. It was a peaceful, contemplative time that they called the watching, or the quiet hours. Medieval literature is filled with references to this natural rhythm. People would speak of first sleep and second sleep as matter-of-factly as we talk about breakfast and lunch. Court records from the 1600s mention people committing crimes after first sleep, and doctors gave different remedies to be taken before first sleep versus after first sleep. After an hour or two of this gentle wakefulness, they would drift back into second sleep, which often lasted until sunrise. This second period was said to be when the most vivid dreams occurred, which aligns perfectly with what we now know about REM sleep patterns in the early morning hours. The transition away from this natural rhythm wasn't immediate. It happened gradually as artificial lighting became more available and affordable. Street lamps appeared in major cities in the 1600s and 1700s. Whale oil lamps became common in middle-class homes. Social activities began extending later into the evening. People started staying awake longer, compressing their sleep into one continuous block to maximize their productive daytime hours. By the Industrial Revolution, the old ways were largely forgotten. Factory schedules demanded workers be alert and productive for long, continuous stretches. The idea of waking up naturally in the middle of the night began to be seen as a sleep disorder rather than a normal human pattern. But the wisdom of our ancestors lingers in our biology. Many people, even today, find themselves naturally waking around 2 or 3 a.m. and feeling alert for a while. In our modern world, this often causes anxiety. We worry about insomnia, check our phones, or lie there frustrated. But perhaps we're simply experiencing the ghost of our ancestral sleep pattern, a gentle reminder of the rhythm our species followed for millennia. Different cultures developed their own beautiful sleep traditions. In Japan, the concept of inamuri, literally sleeping while present, allowed people to take short naps in public places like trains or during meetings, and it was seen as a sign of dedication rather than laziness. The Spanish siesta, emerging from the natural dip in alertness that occurs in mid-afternoon, recognized that our energy levels aren't constant throughout the day. Scandinavian countries developed the tradition of uteppels, sleeping outdoors even in winter, believing that fresh air improved sleep quality. Children in Norway are routinely bundled up and left to nap outside in strollers, even in sub-zero temperatures. Parents will tell you these outdoor sleeping babies wake up with rosier cheeks and seem more rested. The bedtime story tradition, which might be lulling you to sleep right now, has ancient roots. Before written language, oral traditions kept knowledge alive through storytelling around evening fires. The rhythm of a human voice, the repetitive nature of familiar tales, and the gathering darkness all combined to create a natural transition toward sleep. Ancient Egyptians were perhaps the first to create dedicated sleeping furniture. Their beds were raised off the ground to avoid insects and had curved headrests made of wood or stone. These might seem uncomfortable to us, but they kept the elaborate hairstyles of the wealthy intact during sleep. The pharaohs were buried with golden beds for their eternal rest. Medieval European beds were massive affairs, often large enough for an entire family. Privacy was a luxury few could afford, so multiple family members would share not just a room, but often the same bed. These beds were typically just straw mattresses on wooden frames, but the wealthy might have feather beds, quite literally sacks stuffed with goose down that would have felt like sleeping on clouds. The concept of the bedroom as a private sanctuary is surprisingly recent. For most of human history, people slept wherever was convenient, in the main room of their home, often with their animals nearby for warmth and protection. The idea that sleep deserved its own dedicated space, its own furniture, its own rituals, really only developed as prosperity increased and homes could afford multiple rooms. Sleep across the animal kingdom. If you think human sleep patterns are fascinating, wait until you hear about the remarkable ways other creatures have evolved to rest and restore themselves. The animal kingdom offers us a masterclass in creative solutions to the universal need for sleep. Let's start with dolphins, those playful, intelligent marine mammals that face a unique challenge. They need to breathe consciously, but they also need to sleep. Their solution is something called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. Essentially, dolphins sleep with half their brain at a time, keeping one hemisphere alert to monitor breathing and watch for predators, while the other half gets its restorative rest. When a dolphin sleeps, you can actually see the difference. One eye stays open and alert while the other closes. The open eye is connected to the wakeful half of the brain, constantly scanning for danger. After a few hours, the roles switch. The alert hemisphere gets to rest, while the previously sleeping side takes over guard duty. It's like having a built-in buddy system, ensuring that sleep never compromises survival. This half-brain sleeping isn't unique to dolphins. Many marine mammals have evolved similar strategies. Seals can sleep both on land, where they enjoy the luxury of full-brain sleep, and in water, where they switch to the dolphin-like pattern. When sleeping at sea, seals have been observed floating vertically in the water like living buoys, gently bobbing with the waves while half their brain rests. Birds have developed their own ingenious sleeping arrangements. Migratory birds face the challenge of needing to sleep during marathon flights that can last for days or even weeks. Arctic terns, for example, migrate from Arctic to Antarctic and back again each year, a journey of roughly 44,000 miles. How do they rest during these epic flights? Scientists have discovered that birds can engage in microsleep, brief periods, lasting just a few seconds, where part of their brain rests while they continue flying. Like dolphins, they can also sleep with one brain hemisphere at a time. But perhaps most remarkably, during long flights over the ocean, birds have been observed to sleep while soaring on air currents, their bodies locked in position by their natural aerodynamics. Closer to home, our feline companions have mastered the art of efficient sleep. Cats sleep an average of 16 hours a day, but don't think they're being lazy, they're being smart. As predators, cats need to be ready for short bursts of intense activity. Their sleep is structured differently from ours, with much shorter deep sleep phases and longer periods of light dozing. This allows them to spring into action at a moment's notice, while still getting the rest they need. You've probably noticed that cats can seemingly fall asleep anywhere curled up in a sunny window, sprawled across your keyboard, or nestled in a cardboard box. This adaptability comes from their natural sleeping patterns in the wild, where they need to rest between hunts but can't afford to be deeply unconscious for long periods. Elephants have some of the most touching sleep behaviors in the animal kingdom. These gentle giants sleep standing up for most of the night, using their massive bodies like living pillows as they lean against trees or each other. But for the deepest phases of sleep, they lie down, and here's where it gets heartwarming. The herd forms a protective circle around any elephants that are lying down, particularly the young ones. Baby elephants sleep more than adults, just like human children, and they often sleep pressed against their mothers or aunts. The family takes turns keeping watch, ensuring that the sleeping members are safe from predators. It's a beautiful example of how sleep can be both a vulnerable and a communal experience. At the other extreme, we have animals that seem to barely sleep at all. Giraffes are famous for needing only about 30 minutes to 2 hours of sleep per day. Their great height makes them excellent lookouts, but also makes lying down a complex and risky maneuver. When giraffes do lie down to sleep, they often rest their long necks back along their bodies, creating a graceful curve that looks almost like a living sculpture. Perhaps most extreme are certain species of sharks, particularly great whites, which never stop swimming. For years, scientists believed sharks didn't sleep at all because stopping would mean sinking and potentially suffocating. But recent research has revealed that sharks do rest, they just do it while continuing to swim. Their brains show patterns similar to sleep states, and they become less responsive to stimuli, even though their bodies maintain the constant motion needed for survival. The animal that might make you feel better about your own sleep needs is the brown bat, which can sleep up to 20 hours a day. Bats are incredibly energy efficient when at rest, lowering their body temperature and heart rate to near hibernation levels even during daily sleep. This allows them to conserve energy for their high-intensity periods of flight and echolocation. Hibernation deserves special mention as perhaps the most extreme form of sleep in nature. Bears entering hibernation undergo physiological changes that would be fatal to humans. Their heart rate drops to just a few beats per minute, their breathing becomes barely detectable, and their body temperature falls significantly. Yet they emerge in spring having somehow maintained their muscle mass and bone density despite months of inactivity. The way animals have adapted their sleep to their environments offers profound insights into the flexibility and necessity of rest. Whether it's the half-sleeping dolphin, the micro-sleeping bird, or the communally protective elephant herd, each species has found its own perfect solution to the challenge of staying alive while getting the restoration that sleep provides. The geography of sleep. Sleep doesn't exist in a vacuum, it's intimately connected to the place where you lay your head each night. The geography of our planet shapes not just how we sleep, but when, where, and for how long. From the midnight sun of the Arctic to the equatorial rhythms of rainforest communities, location matters more than you might imagine. Let's journey first to the far north, where the very concept of night disappears for months at a time. In places like northern Alaska, northern Norway, and parts of Siberia, the sun doesn't set for weeks or even months during summer. Residents of these regions have had to develop entirely different relationships with sleep, often relying more heavily on artificial cues like blackout curtains, sleep masks, and carefully timed light exposure to maintain their circadian rhythms. The Inuit people of the Arctic developed fascinating cultural adaptations to these extreme light conditions. Traditional stories tell of adjusting daily activities based on subtle changes in light quality rather than the presence or absence of the sun. Children learn to read the sky for the pale, horizontal light that signals it's time to rest, even when the sun remains visible above the horizon. In Tromsø, Norway, which sits 200 miles north of the Arctic Circle, residents experience about 2 months of complete darkness in winter and 2 months of continuous daylight in summer. Modern Tromsø has become a living laboratory for understanding how humans adapt to extreme light conditions. Local hotels offer Northern Lights wake-up calls in winter and midnight sun specials in summer. The city has developed an entire culture around working with rather than against these natural rhythms. Research in these regions has revealed something remarkable about human adaptability. While some people struggle with the extreme light conditions, others seem to thrive, developing what scientists call free-running, circadian rhythms that shift and adapt based on social cues, meal times, and internal biological signals, rather than light alone. Moving south to more temperate regions, we find that even subtle changes in latitude affect sleep patterns. Countries closer to the equator tend to have more stable day-night cycles year-round, while those farther north or south experience dramatic seasonal variations in daylight hours. This is why many people in northern countries experience seasonal affective disorder, SAD, in winter. Their sleep patterns are disrupted by the dramatic reduction in daylight hours. Spain offers us one of the most famous examples of geography shaping sleep culture through the siesta tradition. The midday heat in much of Spain, particularly in the south, makes outdoor work uncomfortable or even dangerous during the hottest hours. The siesta evolved as a practical solution: work early in the morning when it's cool, rest during the heat of midday, then resume activities in the cooler evening hours. This splits the day into more manageable chunks and aligns human activity with the natural rhythms of the climate. The siesta isn't unique to Spain. Similar midday rest periods exist in many hot climates around the world. In parts of India, China, and various African countries, the midday rest is a recognized and respected part of the daily rhythm. These cultures have understood intuitively what sleep researchers have proven. There's a natural dip in human alertness in mid-afternoon, typically between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m., regardless of whether you've eaten lunch or not. Altitude presents its own unique challenges to sleep. Anyone who's visited the mountains knows that sleeping at high elevation can be difficult at first. The reduced oxygen levels affect sleep quality, often causing more frequent awakenings and less deep sleep. The body typically adapts over several days or weeks, but visitors to places like Cusco, Peru, 11,000 feet above sea level, or Tibet often struggle with their first few nights of mountain sleep. Interestingly, people who live at high altitudes their entire lives develop larger lung capacities and more efficient oxygen-carrying capacity in their blood. Their sleep patterns adapt too, often involving shorter but more intense periods of deep sleep. The city of La Paz, Bolivia, sitting at over 12,000 feet, has residents who have adapted so well to the altitude that they often experience sleep difficulties when they travel to sea level. The opposite problem of most travelers. Island communities have developed their own unique sleep relationships with the ocean's rhythms. On many Pacific islands, traditional cultures align their sleep patterns with the tides rather than just the sun. Fishermen would wake for the early morning tide, rest during the heat of midday, then be active again during the evening tide. This created a natural rhythm that worked with both celestial and marine cycles. The sounds of different geographical locations profoundly affect sleep quality. The gentle lap of waves on a beach, the whisper of wind through pine trees, or the distant rumble of thunder all affect how we rest. Cities have had to develop solutions for their unique acoustic challenges. From the double-paned windows of apartments near airports to the white noise of air conditioning systems that mask traffic sounds. Temperature variations across geography create different sleep challenges and solutions. In the sweltering heat of desert regions, traditional architecture developed features like thick walls, courtyards, and wind towers specifically to create cooler sleeping areas. The ancient Persians built elaborate systems called yakchuls, dome-shaped ice houses that could store ice through the hot summer months, providing cooling for the wealthy. Conversely, in extremely cold regions, traditional sleeping arrangements often involved sharing body heat and creating insulated sleeping areas. The Mongolian yurt, the Inuit igloo, and the Scandinavian concept of sleeping outdoors in winter all represent cultural adaptations to help humans rest comfortably in challenging climates. Modern global travel has created new challenges as people regularly cross time zones and climate zones. Jet lag is essentially a geographical sleep disorder, our internal clocks struggling to adapt to the new relationship between our body's expectations and our location's reality. Frequent travelers develop their own strategies, from carefully timed light exposure to melatonin supplementation, all aimed at helping their sleep adapt to their new geography as quickly as possible. Sleep myths and folklore. Before we dive into the challenges of modern sleep, let's take a moment to explore the rich tapestry of beliefs, stories, and myths that humans have woven around sleep throughout history. These tales, passed down through generations, reveal our eternal fascination with this mysterious state that claims a third of our lives. One of the most enduring sleep traditions is counting sheep, that gentle mental exercise parents have whispered to restless children for centuries. The origins of this practice trace back to medieval England, where shepherds would count their flocks each evening to ensure none had wandered off during the day. The repetitive, monotonous nature of counting created a meditative state that naturally led to drowsiness. What's remarkable is that modern sleep science has validated this ancient wisdom. Repetitive, boring mental tasks that require just enough focus to prevent anxious thoughts, but not enough to be stimulating, can indeed help induce sleep. Different cultures developed their own versions of this concept. In some parts of Eastern Europe, people would visualize walking through a peaceful meadow, counting flowers. In Japan, traditional sleep preparation involved mentally arranging stones in a Zen garden. These practices all share the same principle, occupying the conscious mind with something gentle and repetitive, while allowing the body to relax into sleep. The folklore surrounding dreams is perhaps even more fascinating than the practices meant to induce them. Ancient Egyptians believed dreams were messages from the gods, delivered through a divine realm that could only be accessed during sleep. They developed elaborate dream interpretation practices, and even built special temples where people would come to receive healing dreams from the god Imhotep. Greek mythology gave us Morpheus, the god of dreams, who could take any human form in dreams and whose name lives on in the word morphine. The Greeks believed that dreams occurred in a cave between the lands of the living and the dead, where the river of forgetfulness flowed. This poetic image captures something essential about the dream state, that liminal space between consciousness and unconsciousness, where normal rules don't apply. Native American cultures developed rich traditions around dream interpretation, often viewing dreams as journeys of the soul. Many tribes believed that during sleep, the spirit could travel great distances, visit ancestors, or receive guidance from animal spirits. Dream catchers, those beautiful webbed hoops adorned with feathers and beads, were created by the Ojibwe people to filter dreams, allowing good dreams to pass through to the sleeper, while trapping nightmares in the web, until they could be destroyed by the morning light. The concept of nightmares has its own fascinating folklore. The word itself comes from Old English mare, meaning demon or goblin, combined with night. Medieval Europeans believed nightmares were caused by demons or evil spirits that sat on sleepers' chests, creating feelings of suffocation and terror. This belief was remarkably consistent across cultures. Similar stories exist in folklore from Mexico, the Si me subió el muerto, Southeast Asia, Pinyin in Thailand, and many other regions. What's extraordinary is how closely these ancient descriptions match what we now know about sleep paralysis, a condition where people become conscious, but temporarily unable to move, often accompanied by frightening hallucinations. The demon sitting on the chest perfectly describes the feeling of breathing difficulty that often accompanies sleep paralysis. Our ancestors may not have understood the neurological mechanisms, but they accurately captured the experience in their folklore. Sleep talking and sleepwalking generated their own rich mythology. Many cultures believed that the soul was temporarily separated from the body during sleep, and that disturbing a sleepwalker could prevent the soul from returning properly. While we now know this isn't literally true, there's wisdom in the advice not to startle sleepwalkers, as it can cause confusion and distress. The folklore around sleep positions reveals cultural attitudes toward vulnerability and protection. In many traditions, sleeping on your back was considered unlucky or dangerous, as it left the heart and vital organs exposed. Some cultures developed specific prayers or protective rituals to be performed before sleep, creating a sense of safety and security that would promote better rest. Seasonal sleep myths acknowledged the natural changes in sleep patterns throughout the year. The long nights of winter were often seen as a time for deeper rest and reflection, while summer's short nights called for different approaches to sleep. Some cultures celebrated the summer solstice as a night when sleep was optional, recognizing the natural inclination to stay awake during the longest day of the year. Perhaps most charmingly, many cultures developed personifications of sleep itself. The Sandman, who sprinkles magic sand in children's eyes to bring sleep, appears in folklore from Germany to Scandinavia. Similar figures exist worldwide. In Mexican folklore, there's El Coco, and in Japanese tradition, there are gentle spirits called Baku that eat bad dreams, protecting children from nightmares. These myths and folkloric traditions, while not scientifically accurate, served important psychological functions. They provided frameworks for understanding mysterious experiences, comfort for those struggling with sleep difficulties, and rituals that could genuinely help promote better rest. Modern sleep science has validated many of the practical elements embedded in these ancient stories, reminding us that human wisdom about sleep has deep roots indeed. Modern sleep challenges and solutions. Our ancestors may have had to worry about saber-toothed tigers, but their sleep challenges were relatively simple compared to what we face today. The modern world has created a perfect storm of factors that conspire against healthy sleep, yet it's also given us unprecedented understanding of how to overcome these challenges. The most pervasive sleep disruptor of our time is probably glowing in your hand or sitting on your nightstand right now. The screens that have become so central to our daily lives. The blue light emitted by smartphones, tablets, laptops, and LED televisions has a particularly powerful effect on our circadian rhythms because it closely mimics the wavelength of natural sunlight. When blue light hits the specialized cells in your retina, it sends a signal to your brain's master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, that essentially says it's daytime. Stay alert. This suppresses the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps you feel sleepy. It's like having a tiny artificial sun shining directly into your eyes right when your body should be winding down for the night. The problem isn't just the light itself, but also the mental stimulation that often accompanies screen time. Scrolling through social media, reading news articles, watching videos, or playing games keeps your mind active and engaged when it should be transitioning into rest mode. The content we consume on screens is often designed to capture and hold our attention, the very opposite of what we want when trying to fall asleep. But here's the fascinating part. We've also developed elegant solutions to these modern problems. Blue light filtering glasses and screen filters can reduce the melatonin-suppressing effects of our devices. Many smartphones and computers now have built-in night mode settings that automatically reduce blue light emission as evening approaches. Some people have found success with digital sunset routines, where all screens are turned off at a specific time each evening. Shift work presents another uniquely modern sleep challenge. Our bodies evolved to be active during daylight hours and rest when it's dark, but modern society requires people to work at all hours. Healthcare workers, emergency responders, factory workers, and many others must stay alert when their biology is screaming at them to sleep. Shift workers often struggle with what's called shift work sleep disorder, difficulty falling asleep when they need to and staying alert when they need to work. Their circadian rhythms are constantly fighting against their schedule. Over time, this can lead to serious health consequences, including increased risk of heart disease, diabetes, and depression. However, research has led to practical solutions for shift workers. Strategic use of bright light therapy during work hours can help maintain alertness. Carefully timed naps, sometimes called prophylactic naps, taken before a night shift can improve performance and safety. Some workplaces have installed special lighting systems that mimic natural light patterns to help workers maintain better circadian alignment. The modern epidemic of sleep disorders partly reflects our better understanding of sleep problems that have always existed, but also reveals new challenges created by our lifestyle. Sleep apnea, a condition where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep, affects millions of people worldwide. The rise in obesity rates has contributed to increased sleep apnea cases, as excess weight can put pressure on airways during sleep. Fortunately, treatments for sleep apnea have evolved dramatically. CPAP, continuous positive airway pressure machines, while initially bulky and uncomfortable, have become much more user-friendly. Modern CPAP machines are quieter, smaller, and offer features like heated humidification and smartphone connectivity to track usage and effectiveness. Alternative treatments include oral appliances that reposition the jaw and tongue, and even surgical options for severe cases. Restless leg syndrome, characterized by an irresistible urge to move the legs during rest, has gained recognition as a real medical condition affecting sleep quality. This neurological disorder can make it nearly impossible to fall asleep, as the uncomfortable sensations in the legs create an urgent need to move just when the body should be settling down. Treatment approaches for restless leg syndrome range from lifestyle changes, like reducing caffeine intake and increasing iron levels, to medications that help regulate dopamine in the brain. Many people find relief through gentle leg stretches, warm baths, or massage before bedtime. Insomnia, perhaps the most common sleep complaint, has become increasingly prevalent in our high-stress, always-connected world. Chronic insomnia affects about 10% of the population, causing difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking up too early. The causes are complex and often involve a combination of biological, psychological, and environmental factors. One of the most effective treatments for chronic insomnia isn't medication, but rather an approach called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI. This treatment helps people identify and change thoughts and behaviors that interfere with sleep. It includes techniques like sleep restriction therapy, where the time spent in bed is initially limited to increase sleep drive, and stimulus control therapy, which helps people associate the bedroom with sleep rather than wakefulness. The rise of sleep tracking technology represents both a solution and a potential new problem. Fitness trackers, smartphone apps, and dedicated sleep monitors can provide valuable insights into sleep patterns, helping people identify issues and track improvements. However, some people become so focused on their sleep metrics that they develop what researchers call orthosomnia, an obsession with achieving perfect sleep data that actually creates anxiety and interferes with natural sleep. The key to using sleep technology effectively is to view it as a tool for general awareness rather than a source of stress. Sleep varies naturally from night to night, and no technology can capture the full complexity of human sleep. The most important metric is how you feel during the day, not what your device says about your sleep stages. Environmental factors in modern homes can significantly impact sleep quality. Central heating and air conditioning systems, while providing comfort, can create air that's too dry or too humid for optimal sleep. The ideal bedroom environment has a temperature between 65-68 degrees F, 18-20 degrees C, humidity around 50%, and good air circulation. Noise pollution from traffic, neighbors, or household appliances can fragment sleep even when it doesn't fully wake us. White noise machines, earplugs, or even smartphone apps that generate consistent background sounds can help mask disruptive noises. Some people find success with brown noise or pink noise, which have different frequency patterns than white noise and may be more soothing. The solution to many modern sleep challenges often lies in returning to some of the wisdom our ancestors knew intuitively, creating regular routines, respecting the natural rhythm of light and dark, and treating sleep as a sacred time that deserves protection from the demands of our busy lives. The science of dreams. After exploring the rich folklore surrounding dreams, let's delve into what modern science has discovered about these nightly adventures that have captivated humanity since the beginning of consciousness. The world of dreams is perhaps the most mysterious aspect of sleep, a realm where the impossible becomes routine, and the mind creates entire universes from nothing more than electrical impulses. Dreams primarily occur during REM, rapid eye movement sleep, though we now know that some form of dreaming happens in all sleep stages. During REM sleep, your brain becomes almost as active as when you're awake, yet your body is essentially paralyzed except for your diaphragm and eye muscles. This temporary paralysis, called REM atonia, prevents you from acting out your dreams. Imagine the chaos if you could physically respond to dream scenarios where you're running from danger or dancing at a celebration. The content of dreams has fascinated researchers for decades. On average, people dream for about 2 hours each night, experiencing multiple dream episodes that can last anywhere from a few minutes to over half an hour. Most dreams are forgotten within minutes of waking, but the ones we remember often feel incredibly vivid and emotionally charged. What's remarkable is how creative and bizarre our dream content can be. In dreams, people routinely accept impossible situations as perfectly normal, flying through the air, talking to deceased relatives, or finding themselves in familiar places that somehow look completely different. This acceptance of the impossible occurs because the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for logical reasoning and reality testing, is less active during REM sleep. Dreams often incorporate elements from recent experiences, a phenomenon researchers call the day residue effect. You might dream about a conversation you had earlier, but it could be twisted into a completely different context. Perhaps that chat with your coworker somehow transforms into a discussion with a talking animal in your childhood home. This blending of recent memories with older ones and pure imagination creates the unique, often surreal quality of dream narratives. The emotional content of dreams tends to be more intense than our waking emotional experiences. Fear, anxiety, and excitement are common dream emotions, while purely positive emotions are somewhat less frequent. This might be because dreams serve partly as emotional processing time, allowing our minds to work through unresolved feelings or prepare for potential challenges. Recurring dreams have captured particular scientific interest. These dreams, which repeat with variations over weeks, months, or even years, often seem to reflect ongoing life concerns or unresolved psychological issues. A person facing a major life transition might repeatedly dream about being lost or unprepared for an important event. These dreams often fade away once the underlying life situation resolves. Lucid dreaming, the phenomenon where dreamers become aware they're dreaming while still in the dream state, has opened fascinating research possibilities. Some people naturally experience lucid dreams, while others can learn techniques to induce them. During lucid dreams, people can sometimes exert control over the dream narrative, changing the scenery, flying at will, or confronting fears in a safe dream environment. Research using brain imaging has revealed that lucid dreamers show increased activity in areas of the prefrontal cortex, associated with self-awareness and critical thinking. It's as if part of their waking consciousness manages to stay online during the dream state. Some researchers are exploring whether lucid dreaming techniques could be used therapeutically, allowing people to practice confronting phobias or rehearsing challenging situations in the safe space of dreams. The study of nightmares has revealed important insights about trauma and emotional processing. While occasional nightmares are normal, frequent nightmares can significantly impact sleep quality and daytime functioning. Nightmare content often reflects real fears and anxieties, but processed through the strange logic of dreams. Post-traumatic stress disorder frequently involves nightmares that replay or symbolically represent traumatic events. A fascinating treatment called imagery rehearsal therapy has shown success in reducing chronic nightmares. Patients are taught to rewrite their nightmare scenarios while awake, imagining different, more positive endings. When practiced regularly during waking hours, these alternative scenarios often begin appearing in dreams, gradually replacing the distressing nightmare content. Sleep talking, technically called somnoloquy, occurs across all sleep stages, but is most common during lighter sleep phases. The content can range from single words to entire conversations, and the dreamer rarely remembers these nocturnal monologues. What's intriguing is that sleep talkers sometimes respond to questions or engage in seemingly coherent conversations, suggesting that some level of consciousness persists even during sleep. Sleepwalking or somnambulism typically occurs during deep non-REM sleep and is more common in children than adults. Sleepwalkers can perform complex behaviors walking around, opening doors, even preparing simple foods while remaining essentially asleep. Their eyes are typically open but have a glassy, unfocused appearance. Contrary to popular myth, waking a sleepwalker isn't dangerous, though it may cause confusion. Perhaps most intriguingly, dreams may serve crucial functions in problem-solving and creativity. The relaxed state of the dreaming mind, free from the constraints of logical thinking, allows for novel associations and connections between ideas. Many scientific discoveries and artistic creations have reportedly emerged from dreams or dreamlike states. Kekule's dream of a snake biting its own tail led to his understanding of benzene's ring structure, revolutionizing organic chemistry. Mendeleev reportedly saw the complete periodic table in a dream after struggling with its organization for months. While we can't know for certain whether these stories are entirely accurate, they reflect a truth that resonates with many people's experiences: that sleep and dreams can provide insights that elude our waking minds. The emotional processing function of dreams may be their most important role. During REM sleep, the brain processes emotional memories, potentially helping to integrate difficult experiences and reduce their emotional intensity. People who are deprived of REM sleep often show increased emotional reactivity and difficulty processing trauma or stress. Modern research continues to unveil new mysteries about dreams. Scientists have developed techniques to decode simple dream content by analyzing brain activity patterns, bringing us closer to understanding the neural basis of dream experiences. As our understanding deepens, dreams emerge not as random neural firing, but as sophisticated mental processes that serve crucial functions in memory, emotion, and creativity. Sleep and technology. The relationship between sleep and technology is one of the most complex stories of our modern era, a tale of innovation that has both revolutionized our understanding of sleep and, paradoxically, created some of our biggest sleep challenges. From the first electric light bulbs that extended our days to the sophisticated sleep tracking devices that monitor our nights, technology has fundamentally changed how we sleep, when we sleep, and what we know about sleep. The story begins with perhaps the most transformative sleep technology ever invented: artificial light. Before Edison's incandescent bulb became widely available in the early 1900s, human activity was largely governed by the natural rhythm of sunrise and sunset. Candles and oil lamps provided some evening light, but they were expensive, smoky, and relatively dim. Most people naturally went to bed shortly after dark and woke with the dawn. Electric lighting changed everything. Suddenly, productive activities could continue long into the night. Factories could operate around the clock, entertainment could extend into the evening hours, and people could read, socialize, and work after sunset. While this brought tremendous benefits for productivity and quality of life, it also began the slow erosion of our natural circadian rhythms. The invention of television in the mid-20th century added another layer to this technological sleep story. The TV quickly became the centerpiece of evening family time, keeping people awake later as they watched their favorite shows. The blue light emitted by early television screens, while less intense than modern LEDs, still provided enough light exposure to slightly delay the natural production of melatonin. But it was the digital revolution of the late 20th and early 21st centuries that truly transformed our relationship with sleep. Personal computers, and later smartphones and tablets, introduced screens into our most intimate spaces, including the bedroom. These devices emit high levels of blue light, which is particularly effective at suppressing melatonin production and maintaining alertness. The smartphone, perhaps more than any other single invention, has revolutionized our sleep habits. These pocket-sized computers provide endless entertainment, social connection, and information at all hours. The temptation to check messages, scroll through social media, or watch videos can keep us awake far longer than we intended. The blue light emission is only part of the problem. The mental stimulation and emotional engagement these devices provide can make it difficult for the mind to wind down for sleep. However, technology has also provided solutions to the problems it created. Blue light filtering glasses, screen filters, and software applications that adjust screen color temperature based on time of day all help reduce the sleep-disrupting effects of our devices. Many smartphones now include night mode, or blue light filter settings that automatically warm the screen color as evening approaches. Sleep tracking technology represents another fascinating chapter in this technological sleep story. What began with simple motion sensors in research laboratories has evolved into sophisticated consumer devices that can monitor heart rate, breathing patterns, body temperature, and movement throughout the night. These devices have democratized sleep science, giving ordinary people access to data about their sleep patterns that was once available only to researchers and sleep clinic patients. Modern fitness trackers and smartwatches use a combination of accelerometers, heart rate sensors, and sometimes even temperature sensors to estimate sleep stages. While they're not as accurate as the gold standard polysomnography tests used in sleep laboratories, they provide valuable insights into sleep patterns and can help people identify trends and potential issues. The data from these devices has revealed fascinating patterns about how people actually sleep in the real world. outside of controlled laboratory conditions. We've learned that sleep varies much more from night to night than previously thought, that many people naturally have different chronotypes, being naturally early or late risers, and that factors like room temperature, alcohol consumption, and stress levels have measurable impacts on sleep quality. However, sleep tracking technology has also created new challenges. Some people become so focused on optimizing their sleep metrics that they develop anxiety about their sleep data, a condition researchers have dubbed orthosomnia. The irony is that worrying about sleep quality can actually worsen sleep quality, creating a feedback loop where the technology meant to help becomes a source of stress. Smart home technology has opened new possibilities for creating optimal sleep environments. Programmable thermostats can automatically lower the bedroom temperature as bedtime approaches, supporting the body's natural cooling process that promotes sleep. Smart lighting systems can gradually dim lights in the evening and simulate sunrise in the morning, helping to maintain healthy circadian rhythms. Sound technology for sleep has evolved from simple white noise machines to sophisticated apps that can generate personalized soundscapes. Some devices use adaptive algorithms that adjust the volume and frequency of background sounds based on environmental noise levels, ensuring consistent masking of disruptive sounds throughout the night. The emergence of sleep apps represents another technological frontier. These applications offer everything from guided meditation and breathing exercises to cognitive behavioral therapy techniques for insomnia. Some apps use your phone's microphone and accelerometer to track sleep without requiring you to wear a device, analyzing breathing sounds and movements to estimate sleep stages. Virtual and augmented reality technologies are beginning to find applications in sleep medicine and relaxation. VR environments can provide immersive relaxation experiences, transporting users to calming virtual locations like peaceful beaches or serene forests. Some researchers are exploring whether VR could be used to treat nightmares by allowing people to practice coping strategies in controlled virtual environments. The Internet of Things, IoT, has enabled the creation of comprehensive sleep ecosystems where multiple devices work together to optimize the sleep environment. Smart mattresses can adjust firmness and temperature throughout the night. Smart pillows can play personalized sounds or provide gentle vibrations to encourage better sleep positions. And bedroom sensors can monitor air quality, humidity, and other environmental factors. Artificial intelligence is increasingly being applied to sleep data analysis, looking for patterns and insights that might not be apparent to human observers. AI algorithms can analyze large datasets of sleep information to identify factors that contribute to better sleep quality, or to predict when someone might be at risk for developing sleep disorders. Looking toward the future, researchers are exploring even more advanced sleep technologies. Brain-computer interfaces might eventually allow for direct monitoring of sleep-brain waves using consumer devices. Targeted light therapy systems could provide personalized circadian rhythm support. And advances in our understanding of sleep biology might lead to new pharmaceutical approaches that work in harmony with natural sleep processes rather than simply sedating the brain. The key to navigating our technological sleep landscape lies in thoughtful use rather than wholesale rejection of technology. Used wisely, technology can provide valuable insights into our sleep patterns, help create optimal sleep environments, and even provide therapeutic interventions for sleep problems. The challenge is learning to use these tools in ways that support rather than interfere with the natural biological processes that govern healthy sleep. The art of sleep preparation. Creating the perfect conditions for sleep is both a science and an art. A delicate balance of environmental factors, personal rituals, and biological understanding. The way you prepare for sleep can transform an ordinary night into a deeply restorative experience. setting the stage for the complex neurological symphony that unfolds each night. Let's begin with your sleep sanctuary, the bedroom itself. The temperature of your sleeping environment plays a crucial role in sleep quality, and the optimal range might surprise you. Your body naturally drops its core temperature as bedtime approaches, and this cooling effect actually triggers sleepiness. A room temperature between 65-68 degrees F 18-20 degrees C supports this natural cooling process, allowing your body to settle into sleep more easily. Think of your bedroom as a cave, dark, cool, and quiet. Darkness isn't just about comfort, it's about biology. Even small amounts of light can interfere with melatonin production. The glow from an alarm clock, the sliver of light under the door, or streetlights filtering through curtains can all signal to your brain that it's not yet time for deep rest. Blackout curtains have become increasingly popular, and for good reason. They create an environment of complete darkness that allows your circadian rhythms to follow their natural pattern without interference from external light sources. Some people go further, using eye masks, or even covering small LED lights on electronic devices with electrical tape. The sounds of your environment matter just as much as the sights. Sudden noises can jolt you out of deep sleep, even if you don't remember waking up. But consistent, gentle sounds can actually improve sleep quality. This is why many people find the steady rhythm of rain on the roof or the distant hum of waves so soothing. These sounds create a consistent acoustic blanket that masks more disruptive noise. White noise machines work on this principle, generating a steady sound across all audible frequencies. But not all consistent sounds are created equal. Some people prefer brown noise, which emphasizes lower frequencies and sounds like a gentle rumble or pink noise, which falls between white and brown noise and resembles steady rainfall. The key is finding a sound that feels natural and comforting to you. Your bed itself is perhaps the most important element in your sleep environment. The mattress you choose should support the natural curves of your spine while allowing for comfortable movement throughout the night. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. Some people sleep better on firm surfaces, while others need more cushioning. Side sleepers often prefer softer mattresses that allow their shoulders and hips to sink in slightly, while stomach sleepers usually need firmer support. The pillow conversation is equally personal and important. Your pillow should keep your neck in neutral alignment with your spine. If you're a side sleeper, you typically need a thicker pillow to fill the space between your shoulder and neck. Back sleepers usually prefer medium-thickness pillows, while stomach sleepers often do best with thin pillows or no pillow at all. The weight of your blankets can also affect sleep quality. Weighted blankets, typically weighing between 15 to 25 pounds, have gained popularity for their ability to provide what researchers call deep pressure stimulation. This gentle, even pressure across the body can increase serotonin and melatonin production while decreasing cortisol, the stress hormone. It's like being gently hugged all night long. But the physical environment is only part of the equation. The ritual of preparing for sleep is equally important, creating a psychological bridge between the demands of the day and the restoration of the night. These bedtime routines don't have to be elaborate. Their power lies in their consistency and their ability to signal to your brain that sleep time is approaching. Many people find that a warm bath or shower about an hour before bedtime helps prepare their body for sleep. The warm water raises your body temperature temporarily, but when you step out of the bath, your body temperature drops more rapidly than usual, mimicking and enhancing the natural cooling that promotes sleepiness. Adding Epsom salts to your bath provides the additional benefit of magnesium absorption through the skin. Magnesium is often called nature's relaxation mineral, as it helps regulate neurotransmitters that promote calm and sleep. The ritual of drawing a bath, adding salts, and soaking in warm water also provides a natural transition period between the activity of the day and the rest of the night. Essential oils have been used for centuries to promote relaxation and sleep. Lavender is perhaps the most researched and well-known sleep-promoting scent. Studies have shown that lavender essential oil can increase slow-wave sleep, the deep, restorative sleep stage that's crucial for physical recovery and memory consolidation. You can add a few drops to your bath, use a diffuser in your bedroom, or even place a small sachet of dried lavender under your pillow. Other scents that promote relaxation include chamomile, bergamot, and sandalwood. The key is to use these scents consistently as part of your bedtime routine, creating an association between the familiar fragrance and sleep time. Your brain will begin to anticipate sleep when it detects these familiar, calming scents. Reading before bed has been a beloved tradition for generations, and there's good reason for its enduring popularity. Reading a physical book, rather than an electronic device, provides a quiet, focused activity that helps transition your mind away from the day's worries. The act of reading can be meditative, especially when you choose materials that are interesting enough to hold your attention, but not so exciting that they stimulate rather than relax you. Many people find that fiction works better than nonfiction for bedtime reading, as stories can transport you away from real-world concerns without requiring the analytical thinking that educational or work-related materials might demand. Poetry, with its rhythm and beauty, can be particularly soothing. Gentle stretching or yoga before bed can help release physical tension accumulated during the day. Simple movements like gentle neck rolls, shoulder shrugs, or legs up the wall pose can help your body transition from the alertness of day to the relaxation of night. The key is to keep movements slow, gentle, and focused on releasing tension, rather than building energy. Breathing exercises are among the most powerful and accessible tools for promoting sleep. The 4-7-8 breathing technique, popularized by Dr. Andrew Weil, is particularly effective. You inhale for 4 counts, hold your breath for 7 counts, then exhale slowly for 8 counts. This pattern activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and digest mode, helping to calm both mind and body. The preparation for sleep begins long before you enter the bedroom. What you eat and drink in the evening can significantly impact your sleep quality. Large meals close to bedtime can keep your digestive system active when it should be winding down. However, going to bed hungry can also disrupt sleep, so finding the right balance is key. Some foods naturally promote sleep by providing tryptophan, the amino acid that helps produce serotonin and melatonin. Turkey is famous for its tryptophan content, but you'll also find it in milk, bananas, and nuts. A small bedtime snack combining protein and complex carbohydrates, like a small bowl of oatmeal with nuts or a banana with almond butter, can provide steady energy through the night without causing digestive disruption. Herbal teas have been used for centuries as gentle sleep aids. Chamomile tea is perhaps the most popular, containing compounds that bind to the same brain receptors as some anti-anxiety medications, promoting calm and sleepiness. Passion flower, valerian root, and lemon balm are other herbs traditionally used to promote rest. The ritual of preparing and sipping warm tea can be just as soothing as the herbs themselves. Sleep's impact on our lives. Sleep isn't just downtime for your body and brain. It's an active, essential process that touches every aspect of your waking life in ways both subtle and profound. The quality and quantity of your sleep ripples outward, influencing everything from your ability to remember where you left your keys to how you perceive the emotional expressions on a stranger's face. Perhaps nowhere is sleep's impact more dramatic than in the realm of memory and learning. While you sleep, your brain is far from idle. It's busy transferring information from temporary storage areas to more permanent ones, strengthening neural pathways and making connections between seemingly unrelated pieces of information. This process, called memory consolidation, is why you might go to bed struggling with a difficult concept, and wake up with sudden clarity. The hippocampus, a seahorse-shaped structure deep in your brain, plays a crucial role in this nightly memory transfer. Throughout the day, the hippocampus temporarily stores new experiences and information. During sleep, particularly during slow-wave sleep, it replays these memories, sending them to the cortex for long-term storage. It's like your brain has a dedicated filing clerk who works the night shift, organizing the day's experiences and storing them in the appropriate mental folders. This process explains why pulling an all-nighter before an exam is often counterproductive. Without adequate sleep, the information you've crammed into your short-term memory may never make it to long-term storage. Students who get a full night's sleep after studying often perform better than those who sacrifice sleep for additional study time. But sleep doesn't just help you remember facts and figures, it also enhances creative problem-solving. During REM sleep, your brain makes novel connections between disparate pieces of information, often leading to those aha moments that seem to come from nowhere. The phrase "sleep on it" exists because people have long recognized that difficult problems sometimes resolve themselves overnight. Kekulé's discovery of the benzene ring structure, which revolutionized organic chemistry, reportedly came to him in a dream. Paul McCartney has said that the melody for Yesterday came to him in sleep. These aren't just lucky coincidences. They're examples of sleep's remarkable ability to enhance creativity and insight. Research has shown that people are more likely to solve problems requiring creative insight after a period of REM sleep. The brain's reduced inhibition during dreams allows for unusual associations and connections that might be suppressed during waking consciousness. It's as if sleep temporarily removes the mental barriers that normally keep different ideas in separate categories. The emotional impact of sleep extends far beyond memory and creativity. Sleep deprivation affects the brain's emotional processing centers in ways that can significantly alter your mood and social interactions. The amygdala, your brain's alarm system for detecting threats and processing emotions, becomes hyperactive when you're sleep deprived. This can make you more reactive to negative stimuli and less able to regulate emotional responses. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, which normally helps regulate the amygdala and make rational decisions, becomes less active with sleep loss. This combination, an overactive amygdala and an underactive prefrontal cortex, can make everything feel more threatening and overwhelming when you're tired. Minor frustrations that you'd normally handle with ease can feel insurmountable after a poor night's sleep. Sleep deprivation also affects how you perceive others' emotions. When you're well rested, you can easily distinguish between a neutral expression and a slightly negative one. But when sleep deprived, your brain tends to interpret ambiguous facial expressions as more negative than they actually are. This can lead to misunderstandings and conflicts that might not occur if you were well rested. The physical healing that occurs during sleep is equally remarkable. Growth hormone, which is essential for tissue repair and regeneration, is released primarily during deep sleep. This is why children who spend more time in deep sleep than adults seem to heal so quickly from cuts and bruises. But adults benefit from this nightly repair process too. Muscle recovery after exercise, wound healing, and immune system strengthening all happen most efficiently during quality sleep. Your immune system is particularly dependent on adequate sleep. During sleep, your body produces more infection-fighting cells and antibodies. People who consistently get less than 7 hours of sleep are 3 times more likely to catch a cold when exposed to the virus than those who get 8 hours or more. This isn't just correlation. Sleep directly affects the production of protective cytokines, proteins that help fight infection and inflammation. The relationship between sleep and weight regulation is complex but significant. Sleep affects hormones that control hunger and satiety. Leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, decreases with sleep deprivation, while ghrelin, which signals hunger, increases. This double effect can lead to increased appetite and cravings for high-calorie foods when you're tired. Sleep deprivation also affects insulin sensitivity, making it harder for your cells to use glucose effectively. This can lead to higher blood sugar levels and increased fat storage. People who consistently get inadequate sleep have higher rates of obesity and type 2 diabetes, even when controlling for other lifestyle factors. The impact on decision-making abilities is profound. Sleep deprivation affects the prefrontal cortex's ability to weigh risks and benefits, leading to more impulsive choices. Tired people are more likely to make risky financial decisions, engage in dangerous behaviors, and have difficulty with moral reasoning. The effects are so significant that sleep deprivation is now recognized as a major factor in accidents and errors across many industries. Perhaps most concerningly, chronic sleep deprivation accelerates aging at a cellular level. During sleep, your cells repair DNA damage that accumulates during waking hours. Without adequate sleep, this damage builds up over time, contributing to premature aging and increased risk of age-related diseases. Sleep truly is nature's most powerful anti-aging treatment. But the impacts aren't all dire. Good sleep enhances every aspect of your life. Well-rested people report higher life satisfaction, better relationships, and greater resilience in the face of challenges. They're more empathetic, better at reading social cues, and more likely to engage in prosocial behaviors. Quality sleep doesn't just prevent problems, it actively enhances your capacity for joy, connection, and achievement. The relationship between sleep and pain perception is particularly fascinating. Sleep deprivation lowers your pain threshold, making you more sensitive to physical discomfort. Conversely, good sleep can act as a natural pain reliever. People with chronic pain conditions often find that improving their sleep quality helps manage their symptoms more effectively than many medications. Sleep even affects your physical appearance in ways that go beyond just looking tired. During deep sleep, blood flow to the skin increases, and the skin works to repair damage from UV exposure and other environmental factors. People who get adequate sleep consistently rate as more attractive and approachable in photographs than when they're sleep-deprived. The phrase beauty sleep has a solid basis in biological reality. The cognitive benefits of good sleep extend to every type of mental performance. Reaction times are faster, attention span is longer, and the ability to focus on complex tasks is significantly enhanced. Athletes have known for years that sleep is as important as training for peak performance. Professional sports teams now employ sleep specialists, and many have banned late-night activities before important games. As we reach the end of our journey through the vast landscape of sleep, it's remarkable to consider how this universal human experience, something so fundamental that we spend roughly a third of our lives doing it, still holds so many mysteries and continues to surprise researchers with its complexity and importance. From the ancient wisdom of our ancestors, who naturally followed the rhythms of light and dark, to the cutting-edge science, revealing how our brains clean themselves while we dream, sleep emerges as far more than just a biological necessity. It's a sophisticated, active process that touches every aspect of our physical health, mental well-being, creativity, and connection to others. Tonight, as you settle into your own sleep sanctuary, you're participating in a ritual as old as consciousness itself. Joining the dolphins sleeping with half their brains alert, the migrating birds catching microseconds of rest while soaring over oceans, and countless generations of humans who understood intuitively what science now proves. That sleep is not time lost, but time invested in everything that makes life meaningful. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the science, history, and future of rest. If you're already drifting off, then our mission is complete. But if you're still awake, Perhaps another deep dive will carry you gently into slumber. Until next time, may your rest be deep, your dreams be meaningful, and your awakening be gentle and refreshed.